The scream split the quiet morning like a knife through cloth. 8-year-old Lily Harper never saw the rock coming, only the sudden blur of motion, the sharp crack, and the world tilting sideways as pain exploded behind her eyes. She collapsed into the dirt at the edge of the schoolyard, her small hands scraping gravel as laughter rang out around her. The bullies stood over her, smirking, unaware that in a few short hours, their lives would change forever. Lily was a farm girl, born and raised on a stretch of land so wide it seemed to swallow the horizon. Her mornings began before sunrise, helping feed the chickens and walking barefoot through dew-soaked grass. She was small for her age, quiet, and carried the smell of hay and soil with her no matter how hard she scrubbed. At school, that made her an easy target. The other kids mocked her clothes, her accent, the way she flinched at loud noises. They called her cow girl and dirt rat, and when teachers weren't looking, they shoved her books into mud or pulled her hair. Lily never fought back. She had learned early that silence was safer. Her mother, Sarah Harper, worked long hours and rarely spoke about her past. To Lily, she was simply mom, strong hands, tired eyes, and a voice that could calm a storm. What Lily didn't know was that her mother carried a history forged in fire, discipline, and sacrifice. The bullying escalated slowly, like a storm building on the horizon. First, it was name-calling. Then came the shoves. On that terrible day, it became violence. During recess, a group of older kids cornered Lily near the old fence by the field. One of them picked up a rock, just to scare her, or so he later claimed. When it struck her head, Lily dropped without a sound. The laughter stopped when blood appeared. Panic replaced cruelty as teachers rushed in, calling for help. Lily was unconscious when the ambulance arrived, her small body dwarfed by the stretcher. Word spread quickly through the town. By the time Sarah Harper's phone rang, she already felt something was wrong. At the hospital, Sarah stood rigid beside Lily's bed, listening as doctors spoke of concussions and swelling. She nodded, thanked them, and waited until they left the room. Only then did her composure crack. She took Lily's hand, whispering promises through clenched teeth. This wasn't just an accident. This was a failure, of the school, of the adults, of a system that let cruelty fester. The bullies, parents arrived later, defensive and dismissive. Kids will be kids, one of them said. It was just rough play. Sarah said nothing. She simply looked at them, her gaze steady and unreadable. What they didn't recognize was the calm before a storm. The next morning, Sarah walked into the school office with a presence that silenced the room. She requested a meeting, with the principal, the teachers, and the parents involved. Her voice was controlled, but every word carried weight. She laid out the history of harassment, the ignored complaints, the injuries. When excuses surfaced, she shut them down with facts and documentation. Then she did something no one expected. She introduced herself fully. Sarah Harper wasn't just a farmer. She was a former military officer, decorated for service, now working with child advocacy groups and legal teams that specialized in institutional negligence. She had kept her past quiet, choosing peace over recognition. But now, that past became a shield, and a sword. Investigations began immediately. Witnesses came forward. Security footage was reviewed. The truth, long buried under denial, surfaced. The bullies faced consequences, real ones. Suspensions, mandatory counseling, legal action. The school implemented strict anti-bullying policies and training, under scrutiny it had never faced before. Lily woke days later, groggy but alive. Sarah was there, just as she promised. Recovery was slow, headaches lingered, fear crept into Lily's dreams. But she wasn't alone anymore. Counselors helped her find her voice. Classmates, seeing the seriousness of what happened, reached out. Apologies came, some sincere, some awkward, but all meaningful. The bullies learned lessons too. Not just about punishment, but about empathy. About the damage words and actions can inflict. Their parents learned that ignoring cruelty doesn't make it disappear, it makes it grow. Months later, Lily returned to school. She walked taller, her hand firmly in her mother's. The whispers had stopped. In their place was something new, respect, and perhaps a little fear of crossing a line that could no longer be ignored. On the farm, life returned to its rhythms. Lily healed, inside and out. She still loved the quiet mornings, the animals, the open sky. But now, she also knew something important. Strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes, it stands silently beside you, waiting for the moment it's needed most. The bullies thought they were hurting a powerless farm girl. What they didn't know was that her mother was a force shaped by discipline, justice, and unwavering love. And when that force was unleashed, not in rage, but in resolve, it changed everything. The message echoed far beyond that small town: never underestimate the quiet ones, and never assume kindness is weakness. Because sometimes, behind the softest voices stand the strongest protectors.